changed the background image and it looks kinda better for me. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Good morning, fellas. I hope you're doing very well today. My name is Yannick the Art, and today we're going to learn how to draw basically any shape you want without any professional planning intended, okay? So this is going to be a pretty short video probably because it's just pretty simple to do, so there's not going to be that much of a problem if you want to start doing that. So it's going to be pretty short, but we'll see. Also, thank you for the support on my recent content and recent shorts. So I really love the feedback and I really love the attention I am getting. So yeah, let's just get to the tutorial. Okay, so this is the program Open Canvas 7. You can get it on Steam. And now, the first thing I need to say is that this way of drawing shapes isn't going to be universal for everyone because some people have a pretty similar technique of doing stuff like that, but a lot of people also have something different in mind. But this is a very easy way to draw shapes, and so I am going to show you how I do it and how a lot of people do that. Okay, so first of all, the thing is with any shape, for example, let's draw a little cylinder here. Okay, so we have a cylinder, and now you need to understand, before you draw any shape, you need to understand this. Everything in our lives can be displayed by a cube or a rectangle. Look at that. And now, this cylinder is integrated into that rectangle because it just fits here. And this goes for any shape. You can, for example, see that when we have something, let's say like this, let's say like a very obscure shape, something like that. Oh, there we go. Then look at that. When we mark out the area where we can kind of see the idea behind this, there we go. Then we can divide this square into a couple of sections that basically show us where our shape is going to be cut and where, for example, the bevels are going to be, where the edges are going to curve, where the curves are, and where the angles are. So before you start drawing any shape, or just any shape in general, you need to understand the fact that the easiest way to do this is just by integrating everything into a square / cube / rectangle. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's do the first example. So for this example, first of all, I am going to start with a square base of a cube, like this. And this is going to be the base of our shape that we want to draw. Now, first of all, the easiest way to indicate your shape and to, let's just basically sculpt it the way you like, is to draw the middle point, like this, and also mark the lines in which the shape is divided into halves. So we have a 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, and 1/2. Okay. And now, what can we do? Let's do, for example, right here, we're going to connect both ends. So this is going to be cut a little bit. Here, we can also do the same thing. And here, let's do the same thing, but for example, here, let's just leave it as is. And now I'm going to darken out the areas where our shape is created, so you can kind of see my idea. Oh, there we go, and this is going to be our shape. It's going to look something like this. And now, to finish it off, to make it look 3D, I am first of all going to finish this cube. Okay, so we have our cube, and as you can see, we have every side that we need to finish this shape. And since this shape is just drawn on this side of the cube, that means it's going to connect to this one, to this side. So I am going to basically copy the shape I have drawn on this side of the cube. And here, like this, we have divided. the shape. Here, here, and here. And now since this is done, I'm going to connect those points to these points so that our shape just really gets our desired look. Okay, so we have everything done and look at that. Our shape is basically complete. So this is just this easy to draw anything, really. If you have any shape, any, for example, figure, any, let's say, construction method, then you can just basically integrate them into a cube or a rectangle and just basically map out the areas where everything just moves. So we have our first shape right here. When this is done, one thing that I like to do is to kind of shade it, but not too, let's say, professionally. And this is a very good technique to practice drawing shapes like this. I do this a lot, for example, and it has helped me with understanding principles of integrating shapes into cubes and stuff like that. And also it has helped me a bit in understanding shading and stuff like that. So we are going to do just that. And let's just finish this shade off. Okay, so we have the shadow and the shade completed, and now I'm going to do the kind of a similar thing that I showed you in my previous video, which is basically lightening out the area in which the light meets the shape so that it catches our eye a little bit more. Okay, so we have our first shape complete. As you can see, we used our technique with drawing the cube and the square, which worked out very well. And now, since we know how to draw straight edges, I'm going to also show you how to make bevels and circles. Okay, so let's start out with the same thing, but this time I'm going to change the angle a little bit. Let's draw a straight line and let's make it a little bit more to the side and this one a little bit more flat, so that our perspective looks a bit more interesting. Okay, and the thing is with circles is that the best way to do them is by doing the same thing as we did with the first shape, which is dividing your area into one half and the other half, so we have like 4 little squares. And now I am not going to basically make a cylinder, but what I am going to do is to make our shape curve here and here. So let's do that. And why I am doing this? Because it's going to make it look a bit more interesting than it would be with a cylinder. And now, let's do this. Now, when you bevel your edges, you're going to follow a little curvature, like so. And it's pretty easy to do that on only halves, because if you want to have a full circle, you can also do that. But it's kind of difficult to get your circle right at the first try. So my advice would be to just divide your area into halves. And when you have that, you just basically complete the circle and you have a full cylinder done. And now I'm going to once again darken the areas where our shape is. So we have something like that. Oh, there we go. And now we have a little shape that is basically just a cube, but it kind of angles a bit. So let's draw the other part of the cube. Okay, so we have this done, and now let's copy the shape here. Okay, and since we have the guidelines, I am going to do just basically the same thing as we did on this side, which is beveling these edges here and these edges right here. Okay, so that's done. And by the way, a quick art tip: when you're drawing circles in perspective, make sure that the area where your circle is closer to the eye bevels a little bit more, but the area which is like a bit more far away from you straightens out a little bit, so that your circle doesn't look like it's just basically right at you, even though you're drawing in perspective. Okay, and we have everything done, and now I am going to mark our shape, like so. And also I'm going to connect with some light brush our areas where our, let's say, shape would have connected if we could actually see it. Okay, and since this is done, let's do the same thing, which is shading, and this time I'm going to shade this side so that our shadow will go this way. Okay, and this is done, and I'm also going to shade this side a little bit, but not too much. Just a little light shade of gray here, and a little bit of a light shade of gray here. Alright, and since this is done, we can make the shadow, let's say, somewhere here. So let's just pretend that we know where we could connect it. I know I showed you in my last video how you can map out the shadows, but this is just a sketch, so I'm not going to make it 100% accurate. So now that our shadow is done, I'm going to make our lighter areas stand out a little bit with the same technique that we used on our little figure earlier. Okay, and we have everything done. We have a little beveled edge here and here. So now that since our second figure is complete, I am going to go on to the final drawing, which is going to be a little bit more obscure. Okay, first of all, I'm going to start out with this side this time, because I want the shape to go in a pattern like this, where it curves a little bit. Okay, so we have our first side, and now the same thing, which is mapping the area. Alright, and now since we have our halves, I'm going to do something like this. I am going to make this side curve in like this, in this pattern. Okay. I'm also going to divide this into even smaller halves. And this one is going to curve like this. This here I am going to leave like so. And here I am going to do something like this, where I connect those ends and I connect here those ends. Okay, so we have our first shape, and now let's complete this shape by drawing my cube like here and also here, because I wanted to end somewhere right there. Okay, and since we have this, I'm going to copy this side on this side. Okay, so we have our shape on both ends, and now the deal is the same with this side here and this side here, so that I know where I, for example, need to overlap them in a way. So I'm not going to explain to you the same process because we just went over it, so you know the deal. Enjoy the time lapse. Alright, and I'm going also to keep this layer in so that you see all of my guidelines, which basically show that I used all of my techniques. And yeah, I think this is it for today's video. As you can see, I mapped out every single area in which my figure curves, which my figure like cuts out a little bit, which it bevels, and also the shadows I followed the same, let's say, pattern as at least I tried to follow the same pattern. But yeah, I think this is it for today's video. Okay, so this is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and also make sure to leave out ideas for the future videos in the comments section, because I am kinda running out of them, so I need something new. So yeah, I beg you, please leave something new for me. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, Yannick is out. Peace.